Listen up, have you ever felt the sting when a woman has hurt you? Today, I will share Jordan Peterson's secret method to leave her bewildered when you refuse to react as expected. Let's explore how to transform pain into power, preserve your self-respect, and become the finest version of yourself. In just a few minutes, you'll realize that this can completely change the game. When a woman hurts you, your natural instinct compels you to react. You feel betrayed, disdained, even humiliated, and the first thought that flashes in your mind is protect yourself, demand an explanation, or even seek revenge in some way. Instead of letting emotions control you, what if you remain calm, composed, and unwavering? At that moment, she becomes truly perplexed, for the truth is, women always anticipate a reaction when they distance themselves, when they test you, when they utter hurtful words. They subconsciously expect an emotional response. They long to see disappointment, anger, sadness, or despair. They yearn for you to scramble for validation, to prove yourself, and once you do, you confirm that she indeed holds sway over your emotions. She then realizes that she can influence your state of mind, that she possesses power over you. Yet, a man who refuses to show that reaction creates something she never anticipated: uncertainty. When you remain entirely unmoved, confidently demonstrating that her actions cannot dictate your mood, she begins to wonder, why aren't you reacting? Why aren't you affected? Are you not hurt? Or do you not care? This confusion forces her to reconsider her position. She gradually realizes that she might have misjudged you, and the more you maintain your composure, the more she is compelled to re-examine her own actions. A man who remains unfazed by emotion sends a powerful message. He does not depend on external opinions. His value is not tied to whether she stays or leaves, whether she is gentle or cruel, or whether she chooses him or not. He remains steadfast, and that is truly rare. Most men operate from a place of emotional dependence, constantly seeking comfort, continuously reacting to even the slightest changes in a woman's behavior. But the most remarkable men, the ones who leave the deepest impression, are those who remain undisturbed, not because they are cold or indifferent, but because they understand their own worth. And this is not about denying your emotions or pretending not to care. It is about possessing a profound self-respect to the extent that you do not need to prove anything to anyone. It is the recognition that your emotions belong solely to you, and no one, not even the woman who hurt you, has the right to dictate how you feel. Such mastery over your emotions is not only captivating but also exudes dominance, demonstrating the ability to control yourself to the point of earning respect. Imagine this: a woman distances herself from you, tests you, and perhaps even utters words that ignite your anger and sorrow. Most people would panic. They would immediately text or ask, "What's wrong?" trying to salvage the situation. But you do nothing. You continue with your life as if nothing happened. You do not chase, explain, or react. Day by day, she gradually feels the weight of your silence. She expects you to reach out, to show concern, to fight for her approval. But you never do, and now she is the one who finds herself thinking about you. Because when someone expects a reaction and doesn't receive one, tension is created. That tension makes them think about you even more, not less. It leaves them with the feeling that something is missing, unresolved, and the human mind simply cannot bear an unfinished story. It keeps circling back, analyzing, wondering. This is the power of remaining unshaken by emotions. You eliminate the predictable reaction, and unexpectedly, she no longer feels secure in her position with you. But here's where most men get it wrong. They assume that not reacting emotionally means pretending to be indifferent. In truth, it means you become so centered that you refuse to let her actions disturb the peace within your soul. This is the art of self-mastery. And when you achieve that, a miracle happens. Not only do you stop being affected by a woman's actions, but you also naturally become irresistibly attractive to all women, because your confidence now genuinely comes from deep within. A true man doesn't feel the need to prove anything. He doesn't beg for explanations, seek validation, or chase after someone who doesn't appreciate his worth. And this is what confounds her the most. She expects you to do everything to capture her attention, to prove your value, to try to fix every mistake. But when you refuse to play her game, when you continue moving forward with the same strength and resilience, she is forced to reassess everything. Suddenly, she becomes the one questioning herself. And when that happens, the dynamics shift. That's why the strongest response to disrespect, betrayal, or any wound is absolute calm, not anger, not revenge, not words meant to make her feel regret, but unyielding self-respect. Because when a man refuses to let a woman's actions control his emotions, he becomes invincible. And in that invincibility, he takes command of the situation. When a woman hurts you, your first instinct is often to seek a solution. You want an explanation, a reason, some understanding to put your mind at ease. You might endlessly replay the conversations in your head, wondering what went wrong, analyzing every tiny detail in search of a way things could have been different. But it is precisely at this point that most men err, for as soon as you start seeking closure, you inadvertently hand her all the power. You're telling her that she controls the tranquility of your soul, that your emotional state depends on her validation, and once she realizes that, she won't have to strive to capture your attention. She knows that no matter what she does, you'll always be there waiting and searching for an answer. But you must understand that seeking explanations is merely an illusion. You don't need an explanation, an apology, or her approval to move forward. You don't need her to justify her actions in order to recognize your own worth. The strongest response to pain isn't to frantically search for answers, but to elevate your value to the point where that pain means nothing to you. Because once you shift your focus from her to yourself, from what's lost to what you can build, a miracle occurs. You gradually reclaim control over yourself. Most men remain stuck in the past, trying to rationalize the actions of others instead of using that energy to elevate their own lives. But the truly remarkable men, those who shine after pain, are the ones who see it as an opportunity, a chance to become stronger, keener, and more unyielding than ever before. Instead of clinging to the past, they invest in themselves, transforming their energy into self-improvement, striving toward their goals, and building a better life, making those who walked away wonder if they ever truly understood the person they left behind. When you cease chasing external validation and focus on elevating your own worth, you transform yourself from someone who desperately craves empathy into a figure exuding power and confidence. Instead of fulfilling others' expectations when hurt, you choose to leave the past behind and concentrate on developing every aspect of your life, from training, enhancing communication skills, to cultivating self-assurance. This transformation leaves her utterly perplexed, as she never expected you to rise with such strength instead of succumbing to weakness and dependency. You do this not to make her regret her choices, because your goal isn't to attract her attention, but to become a man who no longer needs it, a man so completely immersed in his own goals and personal growth that nothing external can obstruct him. This is the natural energy that attracts not only her but everyone, of a man who knows his worth and never begs for approval. So, focus on building yourself into your strongest version. Let pain be a catalyst, not a prison, for once you achieve that, you will no longer require her explanation for why she hurt you. Instead, she will be left wondering how she could possibly let you walk away. Most men believe that when a woman hurts them, they must say something, do something, or prove something. They think that if they simply express their emotions correctly, if they can make her understand what she has done, she will regret it, come back, and change. But the truth is, words are of little value in those moments. The more you explain, the more you speak, the more you try to make her understand your perspective, the more you become vulnerable. And vulnerability, whether you realize it or not, is ultimately what she respects the least. Meanwhile, silence always creates a powerful effect. When you do not react, when you offer no explanation, When you refrain from seeking answers, your silence cultivates an air of mystery that compels her to think. It makes her restless. It forces her to question herself. When you withdraw without a word, without an explanation, you break every predictable pattern. It makes her wonder what is truly going on in your mind, and the longer she dwells on it, the more your silence seizes the situation. Most people fail to recognize this because they are too engrossed in their own emotions. They feel the pain and want to act. They want to clarify, to seek answers. But every time you do so, you inadvertently reinforce her sense of security. She will think that she still holds a place in your mind, that her actions can still influence your behavior, and that gives her comfort, the assurance that she hasn't lost you. However, when you do the opposite, when you remain silent, when you display no reaction, and let that silence persist, you create an unexpected discomfort that leads to doubt. Initially, she might think there's no need to worry because you'll come back, that you'll try to fix things. But the longer the silence lingers, the more she begins to doubt herself, powerful than any words you could utter. Because this is something most men fail to realize. A woman may forget what you say, but she will never forget the feeling you evoke in her. And silence breeds unease. It forces her to fill the void with her own thoughts that often lead her to question her own choices. When you speak, you offer clarity. When you explain, you soothe her mind. But when you remain silent, you compel her to confront her own emotions, the sense of loss, and the realization that perhaps she underestimated you. This is demonstrated not merely by refusing to make contact, but through the way you live and move forward. As she witnesses your unwavering strength and confidence, unaffected by any disturbance, she is forced to reconsider her initial judgment of you. That is why the most powerful men in the world understand the value of restraint. They know that sometimes not reacting is the best reaction. They recognize that by staying silent and not seeking attention, they exert far greater influence. And a man who masters this, who can sit in silence, who can move forward without feeling the need to explain, becomes the one who fully controls the situation. When you remain silent and maintain your composure instead of chasing after or demanding an explanation, you become as enigmatic as a perplexing riddle. This constant mystery leaves her curious, introspective, and ultimately forces her to re-examine herself, because human nature craves what is elusive and unpredictable. Silence only wields its power when you realize that your worth does not depend on her reaction. Instead of using silence as a form of revenge, focus on personal development and pursue your mission with such determination that her actions can no longer affect you. What confounds her is not your words or anger, but the realization that you no longer need her presence, prompting her to question everything. When a woman hurts you, most men believe the best way to handle it is to completely withdraw, freeze their emotions, or act as if she never mattered. They think that by being cold, distant, or indifferent, they can regain control of the situation. Yet they fail to understand that true strength does not come from suppressing your emotions, but from redirecting them. It comes from transforming your pain into something greater, something that not only elevates you but also completely shifts the dynamics in ways she never imagined. The gravest mistake men make is believing they must prove something to make her regret her indifference, rather than maintaining an air of detachment. Real power emerges when you convert your pain into a relentless drive for self-improvement. As you make remarkable progress overcoming hurt, developing in every aspect, and displaying ambition, mental and physical strength, she becomes bewildered because the very vulnerability she expected, weakness, suffering, struggle has completely vanished. This forces her to completely reassess who you are. The goal is not merely to make her regret her choices, but to transform you into a man who no longer feels the need to please everyone. When faced with pain, instead of crumbling, you channel it into a driving force for advancing your career, physical strength, mindset, and social life. This remarkable transformation will leave her questioning whether she ever truly knew you, for in reality, she never held any power over your life. And here lies the crux. Most men, when hurt, tend to sink into despair or bitterness. They either chase after her, trying to win her back, or they simmer with resentment, attempting to make her feel guilty. Both reactions stem from the same root cause: emotional weakness. A strong man, a man who masters himself, won't do that. He doesn't pursue anyone because he knows his true worth. He harbors no bitterness because he realizes there are always greater things to achieve. He simply elevates himself to the point where the past no longer matters. When you refuse to let pain break you down and instead begin to build a powerful future, she starts noticing you, not because you're desperately trying to attract attention, but because your undeniable progress stands as irrefutable evidence of success. You don't need to pretend or force yourself to grab her attention. Instead, focus on constructing a better version of yourself, leaving the past behind and truly maturing. When you transform pain into the impetus for growth, you become an emotionally self-reliant man, unshakable by anyone. This not only catches her attention, but also earns admiration, as your transformation reflects inner freedom and strength that shatters any expectation of a weak man. When you're hurt, most people naturally try to dissect every word, every action, scrutinizing every detail of the past. Yet, the more you analyze, the more you hand over control of your emotions to her, clinging to what has been. Seeking explanations brings no real solace, it only drains your own power. Instead, shift your mindset. Don't try to explain or cling to the past. Create distance both physically and mentally. By doing so, you send a clear message that you value yourself and do not depend on her validation, while also demonstrating that the consequences of disrespectful actions are simply unacceptable. Your absence becomes the proof that you don't need to justify or express your feelings, leaving a powerful impression that compels her to question what truly transpired. When you refuse to participate in a meaningless game between you and her, you no longer allow your emotions to be controlled, rather, you reclaim your strength. Your absence, both in body and energy, not only makes her sense the change, but also forces her to doubt her own decisions. Instead of reacting in the way she expects a wounded man in need of compensatory care, you confidently focus on yourself, creating a stark contrast that leaves her puzzled and questioning whether she ever truly understood you at all. That is precisely why maintaining distance is so powerful. It allows time to work in your favor. When you are constantly present, interacting and reacting, you leave her nothing to ponder. But when you withdraw, remain silent, and channel all that energy into yourself, you create a void, and naturally, people despise a void. Humans inherently seek to fill empty spaces, and when she realizes that your absence carries a different vibe, when she notices that your energy is no longer directed toward her, she will begin to feel it. Maintaining distance truly works only when you completely let go of the past without carrying any emotional residue. If you secretly still hope that she will realize or obsess over her regret, that lingering energy will be palpable, eroding the distance you've built. Rather than just a temporary separation, your goal must be to focus on genuine self-improvement, becoming a self-reliant man who does not need to be pursued, rendering the past utterly meaningless. When you reach that pinnacle, she will gradually recognize your truly remarkable qualities and question whether she ever truly understood you. If you concentrate solely on yourself and stop worrying about her emotions and reactions, you achieve genuine detachment. When you no longer chase or beg for her understanding, but instead confidently move forward by developing yourself, you create intrinsic value. This distance not only nurtures curiosity but also accentuates your self-sufficient energy of force that proves the past does not define you. And when you live in full alignment with your values, you have already triumphed without waiting for her validation. Letting your emotions dictate your actions is a mistake. Recognize that women react to energy and behavior rather than cold logic. Therefore, maintaining control over your emotions is key to preserving your inner strength. Rather than reacting in the way she expects through anger, sadness, or pleading you must remain calm and in control. When you do not allow pain to rule you and always stay composed, you create a gap that she cannot manipulate. The shock of seeing you not react as she anticipated will leave her perplexed, forcing her to reconsider her judgment of you and ultimately question her own decisions. Remember, you cannot fake this. You can't simply pretend to be calm while secretly hoping that one day she will notice. Instead, you must truly shift your mindset. View every painful moment and every failure as an opportunity. Life presents a chance to hone your skills, mature, and rise above. The decision is yours. Let pain shape you into a stronger, more self-reliant man rather than break you. Many men often find themselves torn between two reactions: chasing after her to prove their worth, or nursing resentment, both stemming from an attachment to a specific outcome. A truly powerful man is one who knows how to let go, recognizing that his value isn't defined by her presence. By focusing on personal growth, building, and evolving, you liberate yourself and become an independent, self-reliant individual, forcing her to question her own choices. Once you genuinely stop obsessing over whether she notices, regrets, or comes back, the game changes. She will sense the loss not because you intentionally created it, but because you have become elusive, rare. And rarity is what creates value. When someone becomes predictable and easily influenced, they lose their allure. But when they become hard to obtain, their attractiveness increases dramatically. By creating true value for yourself, you gain strength not only in the dating arena but in all areas of life. When you stop reacting emotionally or seeking validation from others, and instead focus on your mission and personal development, you become rare and magnetic. This only works if you completely let go of the past and no longer cling to the expectations of others. When you truly master yourself, refusing to let pain or failure define you, not only regain control over your emotions and life, but also compel others to reevaluate their own decisions. True transformation and a focus on the future are the ultimate victories. Thank you for watching. Remember, by turning pain into strength and refusing to let anyone control your emotions, you'll discover a more powerful version of yourself. Hold fast to your self-worth and let inner confidence shine. See you in the next video. In the meantime, keep rising and never settle for less.